Hello everyone and welcome back to the video. Some insane news as T90 has come back to Twitch. He announced that we're going to have a hidden cup sometime in 2024, and although we don't know exactly where his head's at and when it's going to happen, I can't help but just get very excited because Hidden Cup is one of the biggest tournaments for Age of Empires 2 community. It's a very special tournament for me, and you'll see why when I go through the video. Today I'm going to be talking about my top 5 best Hidden Cup memories from all the previous editions. If you guys don't know, I didn't play Hidden Cup 1, but I played 2, 3, and 4, and I have some absolutely special moments from them that are very personal to me. So this is one of the videos that are top 5 on the channel, but it's a very personal video. It's not objective at all, and I hope you guys would still enjoy it, and we can kind of go down memory lane together, trip on some nostalgia in preparation for the big Hidden Cup 5 that's hopefully coming very soon. And with all that said, let's go ahead and hop right in at number 5, and I'm already super excited here. Alright, so starting off at number 5, we've got a very special moment when I was trying to come up with a strategy to counter Viper's strategy on his home map called Bypass. Bypass was very similar to Hideouts in the sense that you can go around and there's a forest kind of separating the players, but there was a middle hole that you couldn't wall or you couldn't heavily reinforce that players would push from. And Fast Imp from the Viper using the Turks, or from people, not just the Viper with the Turks, has been a very strong strategy. But Viper was also doing something else with the Turks. He was just picking Turks, and instead of going Fast Imp, he would go for a boom with some light cav or some cav archers on the side just to get some map control and just develop from there. This created a very tricky scenario in my head because I had to, on one hand, be ready for Fast Imp if he does that, and on the other hand, I have to be ready for him to boom. And Viper was the biggest player, so much experience, semifinals. I have to choose my strategy correctly, and in practice, I came up with the perfect strategy, and it was picking melee, and then if he goes for Fast Imp, I defend with all-in castlage with ballistics, skirm, crossbow, and survive with my economy, and that worked every time in practice. And then if he goes for the boom, only one thing with the melee works, and it's to boom into Fast Imp, faster Imp than Turks, and push on both sides with Halb and Ram. And you have to go fast because back then melee didn't get free armor on Halbs, and you know the Turks getting extra armor on the Hussar means that Turks will guarantee win late game. Guarantee win late game. Melee just have a small window, spend all your resources on Halbs plus Cap Ram, you don't even get Siege Ram, and just go for the kill. And I just barely managed to find the timing to make this strategy work against Viper's Turks boom. And it was such a satisfying and relieving feeling because this was his home map and I was coming in as the underdog, and I was terrible on those closed maps back in the day, and taking this win was just such a special moment and such a good feeling. And it was actually critical to win the set because, as you guys all know, I won by only 1 point. Spoilers. And last thing I'll say about this is that other people tried melee on that map and actually didn't win because they didn't go for the Halb Ram from two sides. They tried to play like Arbalest Ram plus Halb, or sorry, Arbalest Bomber Cannon Halb on one side, and that failed every time versus Turks because they died to mobility and raids and the superior Turks late game. So this strategy was like ultra good, and I was really happy to come up with it for the semi-final clutch. All right, moving on to number 4. Number 5 is a bit of a serious one. So number 4, I have a little bit of a funnier moment, but it's still one that's ingrained in my mind. Again, Hidden Cup 4 semifinals. I'm about to face Viper. Yo's about to face Jordan. We all know who everyone is at this point. And I message Mr. Yo. I say, Mr. Yo, let's practice. We both got big sets. It's the biggest tournament of our lives. Let's practice. Like, we both need each other here. Let's just play a couple sets. And he says to me, word for word, nah, no practice. I'll see you in the finals. Word for word what he says to me. And of course, logically, Mr. Yo, if he's confident against Jordan, he doesn't want to practice against me because he doesn't want to show me his strategies. He wants to go in, keep me guessing, and in the finals, have the best chances to beat me. Well, what happens? Jordan upsets Mr. Yo, not by one random point. He upsets him 4-1. And this is not just like to bring Yo down or anything. It was really to bring Jordan up because Jordan was the massive underdog of Hidden Cup 4. He did the run of his life. He got second place in the end, but beating some crazy names to get there, and beating Yo 4-1 was such an insane upset. And I actually spoke to Mr. Yo after. He wasn't even salty about it. He just said like, man, Jordan played well. It wasn't my day, but Jordan played well. And it was great to see that, you know, he gave the respect to Jordan, but it was still a funny moment that he refused to practice, was confident, and then in the end, didn't work out for him. That's the thing, guys. Confidence is key, but sometimes preparing a little extra doesn't really hurt and goes a long way. All right, moving on to number 3, I've got a moment once again from Hidden Cup 4, just because, I don't know, most of my memories are from Hidden Cup 4. We've got an Islands game against Jordan, and this is the famous Islands game where I was winning so heavily, and then I end up losing because he goes for Futura. This is in the finals of the tournament, and it was really a special game because what happened was, in the draft, I didn't prepare to pick a water sieve. I actually messed up the draft and didn't have a water sieve, so I had to go with Vietnamese, and I played a little mind game. I said, okay, I'm going to go Vietnamese. He expects me to land because he's got Portuguese, a much better water civ, and I just suck at landing, and if he expects it, I'm gonna lose. So, because of this little mind game, Jordan expects me to land, he makes outposts on his land and delays himself, and I just go 3 dock forward, all in galley rush. Galley rush was not really fully discovered. The meta wasn't galley rush, it was more like fire galleys, and sometimes galleys, but not really, only with like Vikings. And so me going 3 dock galley with Vietnamese was completely out of pocket, completely off meta, and I actually won water so hard. But because I'm an absolute dumbass, and I don't know how to end games on water, at least I didn't know back then, I actually ended up dragging the game another hour and a half or something like that, and I eventually lost to Victorias. I tried to raid him with light cap, didn't know what to do. He came back with Galleons, Victorias, I think he had some caravels at some point, and I ended up losing. Very memorable game, and I think at the end of it, Jordan said something like, I'm embarrassed that game took that long, because with, you know, Portuguese, he thought he should have won earlier, but in my opinion, it was just a great comeback by him, and you know, he was able to recover after a successful mind game by me. Still, very memorable game, and I'm sure a lot of you guys do remember it very well. All right, moving on to number 2, we've got one of the best feelings I've ever felt in any tournament, bar none. I'm talking the feeling and the satisfaction of getting a good and surprising result, and just the absolute ecstasy, like the electricity, literally electricity running through my body. I couldn't believe it. I was shaking. Keep in mind, I'm playing these off stream, so I don't get any hype from external areas. It's just me, the game, and the competition. Obviously, I know that tens of thousands are watching, but of course, that's not what you're thinking of in the moment. I'm 3-3 going into the final game in my semifinals run against the Viper.
We're 30 seconds into game number 7. I cannot believe we're here. And now you see the scouts finally engage, and man, they still haven't killed a villager.
Yeah, I was just kind of in the zone, and I was going for a heavy scout play, which is kind of my forte, and I was trying to put so much pressure against Viper to beat him early because I didn't really trust my late game.
Oh my, how? Game 7, villager saved.
Actually insane. There was 5 scouts there, and he's gonna manage to go to that weak wall at the last second and get that mining camp up.
And then all of it built up to a moment where I was getting bloodlines, and I was taking some decent trades, and as soon as bloodlines kicked in for me,
and like you said, armor and bloodlines coming in, you can hop in the houses all you want, but not if you can't get to it.
Big fights and big upgrades, and I think the upgrades might have just won John the game.
I won the fight, and I was thinking, oh my god, I'm actually doing it. I actually have a chance to win. And then suddenly,
he calls it. John the Fearless does it after going down 2 games at the start of this best of 7.
Which came as a complete shock for me because I was low confidence. I didn't expect to win from that position still. I knew I was ahead, but I didn't want to throw it, didn't want to make any mistakes. And then to get to resign so quickly after that, I couldn't believe it. I was shaking, and it was, bar none, probably the best feeling in any offline, like any non-LAN events. 100%, and it was definitely the best feeling up until that point in my career, and still you know, still something that's yeah, it just hasn't really been replaced until now. So that was just such a crazy memory for me in Hidden Cup. And of course, big props to Viper for destroying me in the last one and for winning 3 Hidden Cups up until that point. And so you can just see how high the stakes were. I mean, it was just such a crazy yeah, such a crazy situation, and I truly couldn't believe it. All right, before we talk about number 1, which I'm sure the diehard Hidden Cup fans know about, some honorable mention for me here. It's a very special moment as well. Not one where I actually play. I've already told the story before, so a lot of you guys might know it. But it's when I was watching Hidden Cup 1, not playing in it. I was taking a little bit of a break from AoE at that point, and I was watching it on break in a restaurant on my 9-to-5 job in a grocery store, and I got so hooked. I got so hooked into the game, so hooked into like just the production of the tournament that I didn't go back to work. I watched 4 hours of Hidden Cup, then went home, quit my job, never texted back, never showed up, didn't even officially quit, just didn't even go back. And I decided from this point onward, I want to be part of these events. I want to pursue AoE2 competitively, and that is when I got back in the game. So Hidden Cup quite literally changed my life in a very big way. And again, it would always be a special tournament for me because of this moment specifically. And I still remember what I ate then. I still remember the feelings I had. And I still remember running home excited to get back on AoE, start streaming, and start competing in those events. And of course, I got stomped in Hidden Cup 2 after in round 1 to Vivi. So it was not an easy road. It was not a hero story where I come in and I take over. I come in and I get slapped, but that's what it's about. It's about the journey there and not just getting there all of a sudden. All right, and moving on to number 1 here, we've got the absolute best moment in Hidden Cup, and I'm going to go ahead and truly set the stage for everyone who might have seen it but not fully understood why it was so spectacular, and truly probably one of my best moments in any tournament ever, and that is the Celt Paladin situation. The Celt Paladin incident was so special. So it happened on Cup, and this is a map that Japanese and Celts were played tons of times in the tournament. In fact, the Japanese were considered slightly better because in late game, if the Celts go for infantry like Wood Raider or Champion, the Japanese usually just counter them with Samurai, and that was a really big problem. Samurai or champions for the Japanese were much stronger in a head-to-head fight against Celts, and so going infantry against Japanese was kind of difficult. And so what we saw was that every time this matchup was played, infantry, Japanese wins. And so naturally, the Japanese player usually just goes for champions or Samurai, just blind, expecting the Celts to go either Wood Raider or champions themselves. And of course, we had some Navy mixed in as well, Navy being part of the composition because Cup has some water element to it. And so knowing this 30 minutes before, or the night before, I don't remember, but just right before I had to play the finals, I think it was the night before, I was in a practice game with Daniel and I said, you know what? No one's gonna expect this. I'm gonna go Paladin with Celts. It's a terrible choice. Celt Paladin are really bad. They die to Arbalest, they die to ships, they die to Halberdier, but none of those units the Japanese will go for. None of those units will be on the cards for the Japanese. They always go infantry because that is how the meta was played on that map. And so it worked against Daniel. I caught him off guard and I said, you know what? I think the same thing will work against Jordan in the finals. And I was right. I went Celts.
Japanese in the northeastish for the Admiral. I prefer Japanese if Japanese take water control and end up going into an infantry battle here, Dave. John, going into stables? Is he actually going to go Paladin here? He's making knights, Dave. Did he forget what civ he is?
Celt Paladin is technically the strongest unit that they can make. Dude, he's getting Paladin. I love this so much. I love this so much.
I hid them in the fog of war outside of his vision till I had Paladin, till I had big numbers, and then I swarmed in.
And Paladin is in.
Paladin. And they just seem unstoppable at this moment in the game, right? What if they get into the economy?
He scrambled to get the Halberdier tech, but unfortunately it just never really came in. It was just a really nice victory, and I was super proud of coming up with that because A, it's like a really nice anti-meta move, and B, Paladin is one of my favorite units, so being able to win with it is always a joy, and especially, you know, kind of pioneering the Celt Paladin there in tournament play, definitely a moment to remember, and something that, I don't know, it was really special to me back then. Again, keep in mind, back then, I didn't win a lot of tournaments. Like, this is the first S tier I won, so all of these moments were like amplified times 10 because of the novelty and just the unexpectedness of me doing, you know, well in the event. And yeah, it's just a lot of memories that I hold so close to my chest these days, and still, you know, always think back and just, you know, enjoy the tournaments that they were having, and just the special memories that I was able to make just by playing and doing what I love, which is competing at the highest level of Age of Empires 2. All right, thank you so much for watching the video, guys. It's a longer one and it's a very different one, and I hope you guys do find it interesting. Again, this is the weird situation where for me these are really interesting, really special, but I don't know if you guys even care because, yeah, you guys weren't really there. You're just watching. You don't really get, like, you know, the same energy and the same feelings, but I hope some of this, you know, back information or background situation was interesting to listen to at the very least. And I want to end this video by saying I'm super excited for Hidden Cup 5 coming up. I have no information on it. I'm basically just a fan. I'm a fan of the tournament. I'm a fan of Age of Empires 2, and I hope to see the tournament come back, and I hope to be able to play in it and compete at the highest level once again in Hidden Cup. Super excited, and exciting times in general ahead for Age of Empires 2. We love this game, and we want to keep it, you know, going as strong as possible. 2024 is looking like a big year, and I'm all for it. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace, stay safe, and later.